It is emerging as one of America's power cities. It is the Queen City of the Carolinas, Charlotte. It is the home of banking, of commerce, and big-time sports. The Hornets arriving in '88 and the NFL Panthers in '96. But the big-time sports tradition of Charlotte was born right here in the Carolinas. The Charlotte Motor Speedway, the hub of Nascar Winston Cup racing. 39 years ago, Charlotte began building its own tradition, its own heroes on this vast, dangerous, high-bank track. One of America's greatest motorsports traditions continues in Charlotte, North Carolina, where some of today's old dogs are ready to show the new young pups a trick or two. $199 points separates Jeff Gordon from any other of today's NASCAR heroes. In his own word, awesome. The Coca-Cola 600 will have Gordon's name on the trophy. Headed for victory lane, it's Jeff Gordon one more time. Jeff Gordon on boat number 4 and looks at the checkered flag. He wins the Pepsi 400. 199 points the deficit for number 6, Mark Martin, to make up in the final races of the season. Today, Martin starts second, Gordon 26th. In this critical event. In this 50th anniversary year of NASCAR, the fall tradition, the 39th running of this 500 at Charlotte, North Carolina, the Uaw-Gm Quality 500. 141,000 seats, scant few tickets left this morning at 8 o'clock. 43 cars at the ready to battle for nearly $2 million this afternoon on this mile-and-a-half track. Hello, everyone. Ken Squire greeting you from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Looking forward to another fantastic race, as it always is when you come to Charlotte. Truly, the tradition is here. And in the next half hour, you're going to be part of it down there as we go through the pre-race ceremony, meet many of the superstars that will be battling in this event today. Take a look at the points. Here are some of the principals in today's event that you'll be watching. Jeff Gordon out in front by that 199 points. Notice that John Andretti for Richard Petty's team back there in 10th spot as we get ready for today's race. And Andretti has qualified in 10th place for today's race. It's minutes away. Let's get right down to the activity going on in pre-race at this moment. Here's Alan Bestwick.
All right, Ken, thank you. We're down behind the stage where the drivers are about to be introduced to the crowd. An air of anticipation around us. Drivers with their wives and children with them, all in their final moments before they strap in and begin the 500-mile chase. Two main stories in today's race. The weather is the first of them. It rained heavily overnight here. Track conditions completely different than they were in happy hour. A lot of unknowns on chassis setups when the green flag waves. And the other major story is that championship chase you alluded to a moment ago. Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin, 199 points apart. Gordon never really having done well here at Charlotte in October. Martin looking to score the win. He had the dominant car in practice. The big story on Wednesday when they started qualifying for today's race was Derek Cope. Somewhat of a surprise pole winner. His first pole in 331 tries in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. 181.690 miles an hour was the pole winning lap. And he's with Randy Pemberton right now.
Well, that was certainly a great day for Derek Cope and his whole team. Derek,
The thing is now, can you get your third Winston Cup win here this afternoon?
Well, that remains to be seen. We have a long way to go, and the competition is stiff. But, I think that Jimmy Dean, Brian Pontiac's running well, but, we want to stay up front in a position to win late in the lead lap. If we can do that, you just got to wait and see what happens.
Okay, that's Derek Cope. He's talking about how difficult it is to win one of these Winston Cup races. Alan? Counting down to the start of today's Uaw-Gm 500 in Charlotte. The fans are here having a good time. The tailgate parties are raging. They'll be settling into their seats shortly for the green. Live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, counting down to the start of today's Uaw-Gm 500. Take a look at this. Yesterday afternoon in the Nascar Busch Series race here, the All-Pro bumper-to-bumper 300, 7 laps into the race, Mark Martin involved in a hard crash. Cars turned around in front of him, nowhere to go. Then he got piled into from behind 2 or 3 times. Ooh, that couldn't have felt good. Well, Mark is scheduled to start second in today's race. I guess question 1 is, after that lick you took yesterday, how you feeling?
I'm ready to go. I'm a little bit sore, but not any big deal. Looking forward to this race today. The Valvoline car's been really good since Wednesday through almost all the weather conditions. It's going to be different today, and we'll just have to try to adjust to it.
Now, you were the dominant car in practice all week. Folks said you looked like you did a couple of weeks ago at Dover when you led all but 20 miles. Do you feel that confident about your machine today?
Well, I know our car's good, but, I know a lot of other people's cars good, and this is a moody old racetrack, and, you never know if you're going to be good under any particular weather conditions. So we'll do the best we can to adjust to whatever the racetrack deals us.
All right, Mark, good luck today. Mark Martin starting second. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Thank you, Alan. Jeff Gordon hasn't started lower than 7 in 20 races, but today he'll have his work cut out for him. Jeff, you start 26th. What's your strategy?
Strategy is just to try to work my way to the front, but, I don't think you can push it too quick. I think that we're going to have to wait until everything shakes out and try to do it one at a time. And we've got a good race car. We've got a car capable of getting to the front, but we've kind of had to set it up so we can make some passes, and then we're going to have to adjust on it all day long. This rain's going to throw a little bit of twist and things earlier in the race, but I think we got a pretty decent race car.
Best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Let's go back upstairs.
Boy, I tell you one thing. People want to know why you really want to win in Charlotte. It's one of the premier events on the whole NASCAR circuit. But if you went 100 miles in radius around the Charlotte Motor Speedway, you would find about 80% of the race teams here. You want to do well in front of those kind of people. And the other thing, Dick, a lot of people think that Jeff Gordon has a cakewalk on the championship. Not so.
No, not even close to a cakewalk on the championship. Look at that graphic. He has never won in the month of October or the month of November either. And he's only got a 199-point lead over Mark Martin. How important is 199 points? Not very much. Just consider the Southern 500 a couple of weeks ago when Martin's engine blew up and Gordon gained 132 points in just that one race. Think about this as well. Gordon, 14 straight top 5s. This is Winston Cup. Nobody rolls the dice often in Winston Cup and keeps coming up with top 5s. Eventually, it comes up snake eyes. Go back down to Alan Bestwick.
All right, thank you, Dick Berggren and Buddy Baker, who help us with the call today of the Uaw-Gm 500 at Charlotte. The countdown to the green flag is on. Fans settling into their seats. Driver introductions about to begin. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the drivers being introduced to this massive...
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the gentlemen, rookie fan captain.
Well, the preliminaries are over. The drivers now climbing aboard their machines. Not your typical pace car here, is it? The Cape Crusader ready to lead the field off. 43 drivers to go 500 miles in a critical race in determining who'll win the $2 million NASCAR Winston Cup Series Championship. Live coverage here on Superstation TBS coming up next. Gordon starting 26th. Martin is on the outside of the front row. Derek Cope leading the field to the green flag. His car not very good in practice. Lots of great stories to unfold, and it's all coming up next live here on Superstation TBS.
41,000 seats. Looks like they've now sold them all. The infield brimming with people to come out here and see the 39th annual Uaw-Gm Quality 500. An autumn tradition in the Carolinas. One of the great NASCAR Winston Cup races. At 7:15 this morning, back in the garage area, as rain drummed on the roof, there was Jeff Gordon's car and Mark Martin's car with a final go-over. When we arrived this morning at 6:30, it was a steady downpour. It's become a drizzle, and now it's abating. The skies are looking a little better. But I think the major question here for both Martin and for Gordon and for all the others, the track condition you're going to be facing today, buddy. I look back to 1979. It rained all that morning in Daytona, in that first Daytona 500 we saw on television. And that day, that infield was so slick, so greasy. Remember Harry Gant, that terrible crash? I'm concerned about today.
Well, the grass itself is slick, but the racetrack is in great condition. All the oil's washed off, all the excess rubber, so they'll get good grip. That'll keep them out of that grass, maybe, unless they make contact in the early part of the race.
Now, the battle of the giants here today, which is Martin versus Gordon for this championship.
Well, you can see right here the comparison. 10 wins for Gordon, 6 for Mark Martin. Any other time, Mark Martin would be long gone. But look at these statistics. Very similar everywhere except on the wins for Gordon with 10.
All right, Dr. Dick Berggren, let's tie it all together. We're just about down to showtime, about ready to drop the green. What do you see in this one?
I see something. If you're sitting at home, you better fasten your seatbelt. You've got a guy that's going to lead them down for the green flag who's never done that before, Derek Cope, on the pole for the very first time. Listen to those interviews. You heard about 43 guys who think they can win this thing. And we've got a championship battle with the guy who leads the points race starting deep in the field. Second place starts way up front. Most important, this is a very moody racetrack. It's very difficult to set a car up for, very difficult to stay set up for as well. It's going to be a fun afternoon.
Consider this. When we came here in 1996, it was Gordon leading over Terry Labonte by 111 points. When that day was done in this race, the difference was 1 point in favor of Gordon with 3 races to go in the season. 5 races left now, and the difference is 191 as we go today. And remember what happened in 96? Terry Labonte went on to win the championship. This is a critical race. Stay with us for all the action today from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back with you live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The cars are lined up in single file so they can get a better crack at drying off pit road before getting this 500-mile race underway. Again, it rained till about an hour and a half ago. We're just about set for the command to fire them up and get this Uaw-Gm 500 under a green flag. As we wait, see down in front, pole car, Derek Cope there for the first time in his career. It'll be some moment for him. The question is, can he stay up there? They've had to change engines on that car. Hey, I think we're just about set to turn them loose. Let's go down pit road side and get that firing order.
Gentlemen, start your car.
Well, that was different. Yeah, it was. Hey, we got this one ready to go. And you wouldn't have given 5 cents for it about 4 hours ago. It was damp around here. Everybody was prognosticating they might be running tomorrow. They were talking about 1968 when Baker won the first race of his career in that 600. Then they got in trouble. They had such rain that day, so when they got to the fall race on Friday, they had a terrible forecast, and they canceled the race on Sunday. Of course, it was a perfect day on that Sunday. They had a race the next week. Let's go down pit side right now and talk to Steve Burns.
Hey, Ken, Derek Cope is strapped in. He's ready to go. As you said, it's first career pole here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, he won his first race, the Daytona 500, in 1990. He won again that year at Dover, but it's been 7.5 years since Derek Cope has been to victory lane. He's just one driver, hungry, starving for victory here at Charlotte. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Thank you, Steve. I just talked with Ray Evernham, crew chief for Jeff Gordon, moments ago and wished him luck. He said, you know something? We're going to need it. We tried to do everything we could to our race car to make it faster, and we couldn't, so we're going to need a lot of luck. But you know something? Great race teams make their own luck, and don't be surprised if they pass a lot of cars on the racetrack early, and they'll certainly pass some here in the pits. So they're looking for a good day. Alan? Well, Mark Martin starts on the outside of the front row, 199 points behind Jeff Gordon in the chase for the championship. You hear the rumble of the car. He sits right behind me. Mark had a car that led 380 or 400 miles at Dover a couple of weeks ago. This is the same car. His competition thinks he's just as strong today, and he'll be very tough to beat. To Mike Hogwood.
Well, as Kid Squire said a few minutes ago, nobody would have given you a plugged nickel a couple hours ago that we're going to start this race on time, and we are. But the track is different. All the oil and rubber from the past couple of days has been washed off. It's a green racetrack. What does that mean? It means it's going to be lightning fast when this green flag flies. These drivers are going to have to be careful. The crews have made adjustments for this green track. But the key is waiting until this track comes in. It will get back to the way it was, they think, by about the time of the first pit stop. But early on, it could be very interesting. Ken?
Going to be fun to watch this first 100 miles as they race this green track after all of this rain. Well, we're just about ready to give you the starting order for today's race, the 43 who have qualified, and it was a hard run to make this field this year. There you see those cars in single file down on pit road. And here is your starting grid. You have Derek Cope on the pole for the first time in his career, the former Daytona 500 champion in 1990. Mark Martin, the 95 winner of this race. Beside him, it's Bobby Labonte, who won this race in 95, and Ernie Irvin, the 93 winner. In row 2, Bobby Hamilton is right there for row 3, and with him comes the 88 winner, Rusty Wallace. John Andretti, 6 straight, top 10 start. With him is Todd Bodine, and what a story on that number 91 car. We'll be telling you about it today. Going to row 5, you have Jeremy Mayfield, and Kenny Irwin is there, the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year. In row 6, Joe Nemechek and Jerry Nadeau ready to go, the freshman from Connecticut. Going to row 7, there's Ward Burton, and there's the guy that won the Sizzler last week at Martinsville, Ricky Rudd. In the next row back, row 8, you have Ken Schrader, who won this thing in 89, and Gary Bradbury. Good qualifying run for him. Row 9 today is the defending champion, Dale Jarrett, and with him, Thomas Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer. Going to row 10, there's Mike Skinner and Chad Little, and second place at 1.5 miles. In row 11, it's Brett Bodine, and the 96 Classic winner, Terry Labonte. In row 12, David Green is there, and number 41 today, and Sterling Bartlett. Going to row 13, Wally Dallenbach and Jeff Gordon, starting 26. One to watch for sure. Row 14 is Michael Waltrip and Jeff Burton alongside. Going to row 15, a two-time winner of the Autumn Classic, Bill Elliott, Kenny Wallace. Then comes Steve Grissom and Kevin LePage for row 16. Row 17, five-time winner here at Charlotte, Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty. In the next row back, you have Dick Trickle and Ted Musgrave ready to work. Row 19 will have Johnny Benson and Steve Park. Row 20 is Jeff Bodine and Robert Presley. That's followed by Rick Mast and Rich Bickle. Backed into the final position on the field. There you find that provisional starter as a Winston Cup champion and a six-time winner here on this mile and a half, Darrell Waltrip. Take a look at who failed to qualify for this race.
Of course, the surprise is here. Jeff Green usually gets around very well here. Dave Marcus misses again.
4-time in a row. Andy Hillenberg, Tony Raines, Randy McDonald all didn't make the show today.
Canadian Randy McDonald out of it. Tony Raines out of the Truck Series. Have hoped to make this race. Put such effort into it. Another time for him as well. Well, I've got them doubled up. They're running at the speed they'll run on pit road today. Take a look at our onboard cameras. You have Rick Mast, who's well back in the field, to give you the overview from the 41st position this afternoon. Here he is going to turn one of the 24-degree banking. Jeff Burton is going to start 28th. He'll give you some excitement for sure.
Wally Dallenbach. He gets around the racetrack pretty well. Qualified 25th. I think he's going to do very well today.
See him right behind that second pace car. Now take a look at Dale Jarrett. Start 17.
Yeah, it's pretty deep in the field for Dale Jarrett. He's a past winner here with 2 different teams in this event. Whole string of top 5s here at Charlotte.
But of course, he has the Batmobile, so he has a big advantage.
He'll be all set.
And that's a good one right in front of him. Kenny Schrader there in the Skoll car.
Great qualifying run. Take a look at Kenny Irwin, who's driving the Joker's car today. Starting about Kenny Irwin, this is a great qualifying run.
What a turnaround. He didn't make this race in May.
Now let's get up toward the front. There you have Bobby Labonte starting in that 3rd position. And watch for him to fly off the start. There you see as he overlooks the front row. And our final camera is right in that row with Mark Martin starting in 2nd position. He took a terrible blow yesterday. And we've got a camera with a pole sitter, Garrett Cope. I think you're pretty well covered for in-car cameras in today's Uaw-Gm 500.
Pretty well covered for everything. There are 21 cameras ringing this racetrack to bring you the action. 42 in-car camera angles. Takes 3 helicopters to do that with 4 trailer trucks worth of electronic equipment. There's about 4